Hello, welcome back. 자, 오늘은 today we're going to study lesson 37. Lesson 37 together. And we're going to meet a lot of people who would talk what makes them happy and what makes them unhappy and what kind of life experience they got through. And through those experiences, how their view on life has changed. Okay? 그들의 삶의 관점이 어떤 경험을 통해서 어떻게 바뀌었는지 내지는 그 연령대에 따라서 어떤 world view를 가지고 있고 어떤 attitude를 가지고 있는지 여러 사람을 만나볼 겁니다. Exactly, we're going to meet 4 people today and let us listen to each of their stories and find out what kind of person that this person is. So 어떤 타입의 person인지 이 사람이 어떤 가치관을 가지고 있고 삶에 대한 어떤 관점을 가지고 있는지 하나하나 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. Would it be really fun? Yay, I think it would be fun. Okay, so the first person that we're going to meet is Bernie. Bernie, okay, so Bernie를 만나도록 하겠습니다. His name is Bernie. And while listening to his saying, 그가 말하는 것을 들으면서요, you know, how old he is, you have to guess. 한 몇 살 정도 됐는지. 그 다음에, what are the lines that he mentioned? Okay, and this, for this question, you have to look at your book, page 101. 101페이지를 보시고, if you look at number 2 there, 거기에 8가지 lines가 있습니다. 그 각각의 그 2가지의 line은요, so 2 out of 8 were spoken by each person that I'm going to introduce to you. Okay? So first, Bernie used 2 lines out of these 8 lines in question number 2. Okay? So what you have to do is choose 2 lines that Bernie used in this conversation. Okay? All right, so this is what you're going to do. So Bernie, lines and typical, atypical. You need to find out what is typical about him and what is atypical about him. Okay? And what makes him happy and what makes him unhappy. Okay? So let's find out something about Bernie. Bernie, come on out.
Bernie. Personally, I'm just happy to be alive. I have this enormous appetite to get everything I can out of life. I know it sounds corny, but after all that I've been through, I just appreciate each day. Every single day I have with my wife and kids is much more than I thought I'd have a few years ago. It all started in my 20s. I began to feel very run down, and being a pretty athletic person, it was clear something wasn't quite right. Anyway, I had some tests, and when the results came back, the doctor walked into the room and I just knew from his face that it was something awful. I'd been diagnosed with a rare liver disease, and he told me that if I didn't have a transplant, I'd be dead in 18 months. I went into denial. You see, I'd recently gotten married, and our baby son had just been born, and I couldn't stand the thought of him not having a father. Anyway, I had the transplant, and at first everyone was very optimistic. But in fact, my body rejected the transplant, and from relief I fell back into despair. I had to wait for an exact match, a matching donor to be found. It was torture not only for me, but for my whole family. This time, though, after the operation, I knew right away it would be okay. It felt different. Eventually, I started working again. These days, the only thing that makes me unhappy is meeting people who don't realize what a gift life is. They just take all they have for granted. I could never do that. The birth of our daughter a year ago was just the icing on the cake for me.
All right, we listened to Bernie's story, right? Yeah. And, you know, it was a monologue rather than a conversation or a dialogue, right? Okay, and Bernie told us about his story, his experience in the past, and his view on the world and on his life and stuff like that. Okay, and why don't we go to the first question? The first question is age, right? So, how old do you think he is? Well, he said that he has a wife, he's married, and he has these little kids, right? So I think he's middle-aged. I don't know how old he is to be exact, like whether he's 38, 39, or in his 40s, you know. We're not sure, but, you know, averagely, 평균적으로 한 뭐 30대 후반이나 뭐 40대 초반, 뭐 something like that, 뭐 그 정도가 아닐까. 자, 이런 것들을 전반적으로 얘기를 해서 generally speaking, you can say like middle age 라고 얘기할 수 있겠죠? So Bernie는요, middle age예요, middle age. Okay, so you can say Bernie is a middle-aged man 이라고 얘기할 수 있겠죠? Okay, so Bernie is a middle-aged man, and okay, what are some lines that he used? If you look at number 2에서는 어떤 라인을 얘기했냐? 우리 3번에 나와 있는 그 라인들 중에서요, 우리 어떤 라인을 얘기를 했을까요? 2번에 나와 있는 라인들 중에서. 2번에 8개의 그 대사들이 나와 있죠. 자, 거기서 Bernie가 얘기할 만한 것은 무엇일까요? 오케이. 자, 일단은 한번 그 Bernie가 어떤 얘기를 했는지 구체적으로 한번 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. So, this is what Bernie said. Personally, I'm just happy to be alive. 저 살아있어서 너무 행복해. I'm just happy to be alive. Are you happy to be alive? Well, you just take your life for granted. 여기서도 그런 표현이 나오는데요. Take something for granted means 당연하다고 생각하다. So it's nothing special about my life, you know. Living, 그냥 삶을 사는 것, 그죠? It's, you know, it's given to everybody, so it's not that special. But, you know, Bernie got through some kind of hardship, right? He had to had this transplant of his liver를 이식을 받아야 되는 그런 수술을 받고 나서 life and death situation, 죽느냐 사느냐 그런 상황에 닥쳐본 사람들은 압니다. How precious our life is. 우리 인생이 얼만큼 중요한지를 우리 Bernie는 he realized through those hardships. Okay, anyway, and he had this enormous appetite to get everything out of life. So to get everything out of his life, he has this, you know, large, great appetite. 자, appetite이라고 하면은 식욕이라는 그런 표현인데요. 인생에 있어서 모든 것을 다 누리고 싶은, 인생을 즐기고 싶은 어떤 그런 욕구가 아주 강하게 든다라는 그런 얘기가 되겠죠? So, I have this enormous appetite to get everything I can out of life. 인생에서 얻을 수 있는 건 모두 다 얻고 싶다라는 그런 아주 긍정적인 worldview, 안경을 쓰게 됐습니다. Okay? And, you know, after all that he's been through, 그가 겪은 것들, 뭐, operation, life-saving operation이죠. 그냥 not just simple, you know, easy operation, but you know, he had this life-saving operation. 그러니까 사느냐 죽느냐의 어떤 기로에서 이런 그 수술을 받았어요. 자, 그러고 나서 he just appreciate each day. Do you appreciate your day? 오늘 하루를 여러분 감사하면서 지냈습니까? 오늘 하루 우리가 숨 쉬고 without any pain, 어떤 고통도 없이 그리고 눈 깜빡일 때도요. 그냥 I don't feel any pain. 이것 자체가 when you breathe in and breathe out, you don't feel any pain in your lungs or you know in your bronches and anywhere. I think we are so blessed and we have to appreciate that. Okay, 자 이것이 바로 Bernie attitude가 되겠습니다. Every single day I have with my wife and kids. 아이들과 와이프와 같이 살아나가는 하루하루가 it's much more than I thought I'd have a few years ago. 몇 년 전에 내가 생각했었던 것보다 훨씬 더 풍성한 그런 삶이 됩니다. Okay, it all started in my 20s. 20세 때. 20대라고 할 때 in one's 20s. You use this expression in one's 30s, in one's 40s. Okay? So, if you cannot remember or if you don't want to mention the exact age, you can say, oh, I'm in my 30s or I'm in my 40s and something like that, right? So, in one's 40s, in one's 50s. 이런 표현들. I began to feel very run down. Oh, he was really tired without any purpose. And he was an athletic person, so it was something very weird to him because he was always energetic and athletic and stuff like that. And, something wasn't quite right. 뭔가 잘못됐다라는 그런 생각을 하게 된 것이죠. Anyway, he had some tests. 여기서는 medical tests를 한 것이 되겠죠. And when the result came back, the doctor walked into the room and I just knew from his face, 그 얼굴을 보고 that it was something awful. What was that? He had this terrible problem, like, you know, rare disease. rare liver disease를 가지고 있었어요. Okay, what does rare mean? It's not common. 흔하지 않은, 그죠? unusual liver disease를 가지고 있게 됐죠. Okay, and he needed this transplant. transplant를 해야 됐었어요. Okay, and if he didn't have a transplant, 만약에 그 이식을 하지 않으면 he'd be dead in 18 months. 18개월 있다가 죽는 그런 상황이 됐었죠. Okay, oh, this is really awful. 진짜 끔찍한 상황이었어요. And he had a transplant. 그래서 그 이식을 하긴 했는데요. At first, everyone was very optimistic. Oh, everything will go well. You know, you will get recovered. 하면서 optimistic. 아주 긍정적인, 낙관적인 그런 얘기를 했는데요. You know, from the relief, I fell back into despair. From A to B는 A에서 B로. From the relief. 다행이다. 여러분, 이적의 노래 아시죠? 다행이다. What a relief, right? So, from the relief, 다행이다. People were very optimistic at first. But, 나중에 알게 된 것은 뭐냐면, well, I fell back into despair. What does despair mean? 절망이죠, right? 아주 deep disappointment. A great disappointment. 굉장한 그 disappointment를 겪게 된 거죠. despair. 절망의 나락으로 떨어졌습니다. 왜냐면요, 이유는 뭡니까? I had to wait for an exact match, a matching donor to be found. 수술이 잘 안 돼가지고요. matching donor 하면은 그 간이 이렇게 맞는 사람. Actually, his body rejected the transplanted part of the liver. Okay? So, 그 이식이 되어진 그 liver의 그 파트를 그의 몸이 rejected. 거부를 한 거예요. 자, 그래서 donor, D-O-N-O-R. So, he had to find this donor. To have the, exact match for him, his body. 자, 그의 몸에 아주 정확하게 맞아 들어갈 만한 그런 liver를 가진 donor를 찾는다는 거. Oh, well, you might think that is kind of impossible. But, actually, he did not give up. 끝까지 이제 포기를 하지 않았고요. 나중에, he felt that it was like a torture. Not only for himself, but for the family as a whole. 그래서 그 자신뿐만이 아니라 가족 전체에게도 이것은 하나의 뭐였습니까? 그죠, torture. What does torture mean? T-O-R-T-U-R-E. 하나의 그 고문이었다라는 그런 얘기를 하고 있네요. Okay, but this time though, after the operation, I knew right away it would be okay. So this time, 이번에는요. 자, 요게 바로 우리 그 이번에 나온 두 번째 라인이죠. So, this time though, though라는 것은 이전에 나왔던 거랑 상반되는 얘기죠. This time though, 요번에 트랜스플란트를 받았을 때는 I knew right away. 즉시 알 수 있었다. It would be okay. So, this time though, I knew right away. 즉시 immediately, I got to know it that it would be okay. He felt really, really good. So, line number 2 was used in Bernie's monologue. Barney가 사용한 그 표현이 되겠네요. It felt different. Eventually I started working again. 다시 이제 일을 하게 됐고요. These days, the only thing that makes me unhappy is meeting people who don't realize what a gift life is. So, he feels these days, 이거 정말 이해가 안 간다. The only thing makes me unhappy. He's happy all the time. 항상 행복하지만 if there's something that makes him unhappy, 그래 행복하게 만들지 않는 것이 있다면 그게 뭡니까? What is that? Well, when he meets people who don't, treasure their lives. 그들의 삶을 귀하게 여기지 않는 사람들. Take their lives for granted. Take something for granted라는 얘기 했었죠? 당연시. 그들의 삶을 당연시 여기고 여기에 이제 쓰여진 라인은 뭐냐면 meeting people who don't realize what a gift life is. 삶이 얼만큼 우리에게 주어진 선물 같은 것인지를 realize, 깨닫지 못한 사람들. 자, 요게 line number 8이네요. 그죠? 자, 그래서 line number 2, A이 여기에 쓰여졌고요. Okay, line number 2 다시 하면요. This time though, after the operation, I knew, 정확하게 알고 있었습니다. I knew right away it would be okay. 자, 이게 number 2였고요. Number 8은 These days, the only thing that makes me unhappy is meeting people who don't realize what a gift life is. 자, 이게 8번째였습니다. So, 2 and 8, line number 2 and 8 were said by Bernie. Bernie가 이 모노로그에서 얘기한 것이 되겠고요. Okay, Okay, let's find out what's typical and atypical about him. Okay, well, typically he talks about his wife. You know, everybody at his age might have a wife and kids, right? So he's talking about his wife and he's talking about his kids. 아이들에 대해서도 얘기를 하고요. And working, 뭐 이런 것들에 대해서 얘기했죠. There's something atypical about him is what? Yeah, that's right. He had this life-saving operation. He had this rare liver disease. 아주 흔하지 않은 희귀한 그 간의 그 병을 가지고 있었어요. Okay? So, life-saving operation을 하고요. He talks about being happy. 그냥 행복한 거야. 그죠? Being happy to be alive. 보통 사람들은 느낄 수 없는 atypical한 그 aspect of life. 뭡니까? Just, being happy to be alive. 살아있는 것 때문에 그 감사하고 행복해하는 거. 그 다음에 what gift life is. 인생이 얼만큼 what a gift life is. 자, 우리의 인생이 얼만큼 그 선물과 같은 것인지 이런 것들을 얘기해주고 있습니다. 이거는 특히 그 나이 든 사람들이 많이 그 생각하는 건데요. 아직 he's a middle-aged man and he realized something big about life. Actually, I think it's kind of a secret, right? Only old people, some people who got through lots of ups and downs in their lives can say, but I think he's very mature through his experience. Okay. And happy and unhappy. Well, he said he's happy all the time, except 어떤 경우만 제외하고요. What makes me unhappy is when he sees those people who don't realize what a gift their life is. 그들의 삶이 얼만큼 그 선물과 같은 건지, 얼만큼 treasure 해야 되는지, 얼만큼 precious한지 깨닫지 못하는 사람을 볼 때 정말 unhappy 하다고 했어요. Right. So, like Bernie, 우리가 꼭 직접적으로 그런 것들을 경험해야 하지 않은 것이 아니라 even though we do not have that kind of experience, we know through indirect experience, like, Bernie's case 같은 경우를 보게 되면요, we realize, okay, that's right. I have to appreciate every day, every minute, every second, and I treasure my life. 이런 생각하게 되지 않습니까? Right. And now it's time for us to go to another person. Haley가 우리를 기다리고 있습니다. Why don't we go and meet Haley? Let's listen to her story interview.
Haley.
Teenagers get a bad rap, don't they?
I know, and it's so unfair. You watch TV or read the papers, and it's all kids getting high on drugs and booze and stuff.
So, how do you and your friends get your kicks?
Well, of course we like going out and having fun. We go to parties and dance and stuff.
And drink?
Well, actually, most of us just get off on dancing. I just love it when I'm dancing.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Not right now. Life's simpler that way. I'm really happier without one. You have a boyfriend, and all they ever want to do is watch football, play football, talk about football. Boring. I have really good times with my girlfriends. We do things and have real conversations.
So, what do you talk about? Boys?
Okay, yeah, sometimes. But lots of things. Honestly, the best times I've had are just nights talking with my friends.
Do any of them have boyfriends?
Oh, yeah. Some girls have to have boyfriends. You know what I mean.
What do you mean?
Well, they don't feel good about themselves unless some boy wants them. It's all they want to talk about.
And you don't like that?
Of course not. It's pathetic. I want to do things for myself, by myself, not tie myself to one person. I had a boyfriend all last year. Yeah, he was cute, but you can't have a relationship for life that begins when you're 15.
Some people do.
Not these days. I want to see the world, meet lots of people, get a good career before I settle down.
Sounds exciting. Good luck with it all.
Well, Haley, how old do you think she is? Well, according to her voice and some of the contents that she mentioned, I see that she's a teenager, right? She's a teenager. She's a teenage girl, right? And what is she talking about? Actually, she's being interviewed. 지금 인터뷰를 받고 있는 그런 장면인데요. 자, 어떤 내용에 대해서 얘기를 했습니까? 자, 일단은 우리가 그 teenage라는 거 number one은 일단 풀렸어요. 그죠? Teenage years. Teenage. Okay, so she's a teenager. This is how I imagined how Haley looks. Haley가 이렇게 생겼다고 저는 생각을 했고요. 자, anyway, so 자, 헤일리가 뭐 해줘서 얘기했냐면요. 요즘에 그 10대들 정말 버릇없고 흥청망청 그 TV나 아니면은 뉴스나 매거진 뭐 이런 데 나오는 거 보면은 10대들이 high on drugs, which is high mean I feel really high, so happy. When you do drugs, I've never done drugs. Don't get me wrong. Okay, 저는 뭐 마약을 해본 적은 없지만, well, TV나 아니면은 뭐 그 영화나 이런 걸 통해서 보면은, if they do drugs, they feel really high. Ooh, extreme happiness를 느끼는 것 같아요, right? Or 아니면은 extreme happiness, 뭐 feel high라는 표현도 언제 쓰이냐면요. Whenever somebody falls in love, 사랑에 빠지게 되면 they feel really high. They're like, oh, walking on the air every time. You know, I see them and they're like, oh, so happy, right? Okay, so 마약 퇴치할 수 있는 좋은 방법은요. 모든 사람을 사랑에 빠뜨리는 겁니다. I don't know whether it's a good solution or not, but you know, 정책으로 입안하기 좀 그렇겠죠. Okay, anyway. So Haley's story. She's a teenager, and let's see what she said. 그녀가 얘기한 거요. Teenagers get a bad rap, don't they? 요즘에 그 teenager는 비난을 많이 받습니다. They get blamed, right? I know, it's so unfair. Unfair? 이거는 공정하지 않습니다. You watch TV or read the papers, and it's all kinds of getting high on drugs and booze and stuff. Okay? So you watch TV or read the papers, and it's all kids, 아이들이 getting high, getting high on drugs. Okay, 마약을 해가지고 막 해롱해롱 해야 하는 거. And booze and stuff. What does booze mean? Drink a lot. A whole lot, right? 너무 많이 그 술을 마시는 거예요. Okay? So, booze, B-O-O-Z-E and stuff 이런 것만 이제 보이게 되는데요. 사실은 그렇지 않다고요. 뭐 이런 식의 얘기를 하고 있는 것 같네요. So, how do you and your friends get your kicks? Get one's kicks. What does that mean? Enjoy yourself to the fullest. 아주 만끽하고 뭐 이럴 때 get one's kicks 라는 그런 표현을 쓰죠. So, 친구들이랑 그럼 어떻게 놀아요? 뭐 if you don't do drugs, if you don't booze, 뭐 술 마시거나 뭐 이러지 않는다면 어떻게? How do you spend your time to enjoy yourselves? 이런 얘기 하는 거죠. So, how do you and your friends get your kicks? Okay? Get one's kicks. Well, of course, we like going out and having fun. 우리도 뭐 go out 나가서 having fun. Okay, 즐겁게 지내는 거 좋아하죠. We go to parties and dance and stuff. Okay, you know, you put stuff when you don't want to arrange everything in detail, or you don't have the, details to list. 그래서 여기서 이제 쭉 얘기하고 싶은 그런 details가 없을 때 A and B and stuff 라고 얘기하죠. So, what do? They go to parties and they dance and stuff. 이런 거 한다고 했죠? Okay, so 친구들이랑 뭐 하냐고 그랬더니 뭡니까? 그 춤추러 가기도 하고 파티에 가기도 하고. So we go to parties and dance and stuff. And drinks? 술은 안 마십니까? Well, actually, most of us just get off on dancing. Okay, most of us just get off on dancing. What does get off on dancing mean? Well, they're crazy about dancing. They really, really enjoy. They're so into dancing, right? So, 춤추는 거 너무 좋아요. So, we don't drink that much, we don't, do anything bad, but we just, dance, and we really enjoy dancing. This is what they're saying. So, most of us just get up on dancing. Most of us just get up on dancing. This is what she's saying. So, 이것이 우리 이번에 나오는 부분이잖아요. So, number 2에 가시면요. 이게 몇 번입니까? Most of us just get off on dancing. That's right. That's number 1. 1번이잖아요. 그죠? So, most of us just get off on dancing. Most of us just get off on dancing은 우리 헤일리가 한 얘기예요. 1번. Okay? I just love it when I'm dancing. 뭐 춤출 때 너무너무 좋아요. 신나요. 뭐 이런 뜻이죠. 자, 다른 질문을 또 건넵니다. Do you have a boyfriend? 남자친구 있어? Well, no, right now, life's simpler that way. 남자친구 없는 게 인생이 더 간단하대요. 아주 심플하대요. I'm really happier without one. Without one means without a boyfriend. 남자친구 없는 것이 더 행복하대요. Why? You have a boyfriend and all they ever want to do is what? 남자들이 좋아하는 거. Watch football or play football or talk about football. 남자들 너무 football 좋아해요. 이거는 그 10대 때부터도 그러나 봐요. 사실 우리 soccer widow라는 말이 생길 정도로 남자들이 결혼하고 나서도 soccer를 너무 좋아해가지고 월드컵 피리어드 때 여자 그 아내를 팽개치고 they just watch TV, right? And they talk about football and you know soccer. 여기서 그 soccer에 대해서 이제 soccer widow는 얘기를 하는 것이죠. So they talk about soccer all the time. They play soccer all the time. And they watch soccer all the time. 그 집안일이 어떻게 되든지 아내가 어떻게 되든지 they don't care. So 그래서 이제 this term was coined to mean 이런 그 외로운 와이프를 뜻하기 위해서 soccer widow라는 말도 생겼잖아요. 여기서는 뭐 풋볼이요, soccer인지 아니면 American football인지는 뭐 잘 모르겠지만 대부분 미국에서 when they talk about football, it's American football. 미식 축구 이런 것도 얘기해서 they are crazy about footballs, right? So boys are like, you know, they play football, they talk about football, you know, they watch football. Every day they talk about football. football 없으면 안 된대요. 여자들이 가장 싫어하는 얘기, 축구 얘기. 그 다음에 군대 얘기, 뭐 이런 거 싫어하잖아요. 가장 싫어하는 것은 군대에서 축구한 얘기라고 하죠. Okay. Anyway. 자, 그래서 남자친구랑 죽이 안 맞는다. She wants some kind of girl talk. Heart to heart talk. 지난번에 배웠었죠. Heart to heart. 마음을 터놓는 girl talk. 여자들끼리 할 수 있는 그런 그 대화를 더 선호하는 그런 경향이네요. That's why she doesn't need a boyfriend. 남자친구가 필요 없다고 하는 이유가 바로 그거네요. Right? Okay. 자, 그래서 well, do any of them have boyfriends? 뭐 여자친구들 중에서 뭐 같이 어울리는 여자친구들 중에서 남자친구 있나요? 라는 그런 얘기를 했는데요. Well, some of them do. 자, 그들 중에서요. Well, unless some boy wants them. 어떤 남자들이 그 남자애들이, boys들이 그들을 원하지 않으면 they feel unhappy. 행복하게 느끼지 않는 그런 아이들이 있대요. 자, 여기서요. Some girls have to have boyfriends. Some girls have to have boyfriends. 어떤 애들은 남자친구가 꼭 있어야 되는 그런 애들도 있죠. You know what I mean. 뭔 뜻인지 아시잖아요. Right? What do you mean? 뭔 뜻인데요? I don't know. Well, you know, they don't feel good about themselves unless some boy wants them. So they don't feel good about themselves unless some boy wants them. 자, 어떤 그 아이들이, 남자아이들이 그들을 원하지 않는다면은 굉장히 they don't feel good about themselves. Okay? 자, 그런 얘기들이 있었고요. 자, 그 다음에 I had a boyfriend all last year. Yeah, he was cute, but you can't have a relationship for life that begins when you're 15. 뭐 15살 때 뭐 진지한 그런 관계가 뭐 성립된다는 것은 기대할 수 없는 것이기 때문에 15살? Well, 제 boyfriend 필요 없어요. 이렇게 느꼈었던 것이죠. Okay, and I want to see the world. 자, 이것은 지금 우리 헬리가 가지고 있는 말입니다. 뭐 남자친구 사귀어서 그런 serious relationship 때문에 머리 아파하느니 차라리 well, boyfriend 없이 without a boyfriend, she wants to live her life freely. 아주 자연스럽게. 자, 이게 바로 그 5번에 나온 대사를 이제 그 다음에 얘기를 합니다. I want to see the world, meet a lot of people, get a good career before I settle down. 어디 뭐 정착하고 어떤 남자친구 만나서 뭐 결혼해서 settle down 하기 전에 하고 싶은 게 뭐래요? I want to see the world. 세계를 돌아다니면서 보고 싶어요. Meet lots of people. 많은 사람들을 만나고요. Get a good career. 아주 좋은 경력을 쌓고 싶습니다. 자신의 일에 대해서 굉장히 독립적으로 생각하는 그런 편이네요. Right? So, that's number 5. So, number 5까지도 같이 얘기를 했네요. Okay, so, what did you find so typical about her? Well, she said that she wants to dance, right? She enjoys dancing. 춤추는 거 좋아하죠. This is so typical thing for teenagers. 10대들은 춤추는 거 굉장히 좋아하잖아요. 그 에너지를 발산해야 되니까. And she goes to parties. 네, 파티에도 가고요. And she talks with girlfriends, girl talk 같은 거 즐기고요. 그죠? 여자들은 slumber party 많이 하잖아요. 밤새 가지고 파자마 입고. 파자마 party or slumber party. And they chat. Right? 이거는 굉장히 typical한 것이 되겠죠. And she wants to see the world. She wants to go around the world. 이런 얘기도 하나의 typical한 얘기가 되겠습니다. And what is so untypical about her? Well, something atypical about her is she doesn't want to have a boyfriend, right? She doesn't want to be tied with a boyfriend in a relationship, right? 그래서 어떤 관계에 있어서 남자친구에게 매이고 싶어 하지 않는다. 이것이 굉장히 독특한 것이었습니다. Okay, and what makes her happy? 자, 그녀를 행복하게 하는 것은 뭡니까? Well, dancing, 춤추는 거 좋아한다 그랬죠? So dancing makes her happy and talking with friends, 여자친구와 heart to heart talk, girl talk 하는 거 makes her happy. 그죠? 그 다음에 어떤 것이 unhappy 한다 그러죠? Having a boyfriend 자체는 괜찮은 것 같은데 the problem is boys all talk about footballs, right? So she thinks that football is very boring. So, well, talking about football or, having a boyfriend who loves football makes her unhappy. 행복하지 않게 만드는 것 중에 하나가 풋볼에 대한 이야기를 하는 것 내지는 풋볼에 대한 이야기를 하고 풋볼을 좋아하는 풋볼에 열광하는 남자친구까지만 되게 짜증난다 라는 그런 얘기를 했습니다. 오케이 좋습니다. Now it's time for us to go to listen to Tony. 자, 토니 이야기를 한번 들어볼까요?
Tony.
The kind of things that get me down are part political and part physical. I suppose, like a lot of old or older people, I think the world has gone to pot. All these politicians come and go, but they don't make any difference. They all sound the same. They make promises and then break them. And then, on the physical side, I don't have the energy I used to have. I'm exhausted by lunchtime. I always seem to have aches and pains somewhere. Knees, hip, shoulder, back. The best thing I ever did was take early retirement. Honestly. It was like buying my life back. Suddenly I could do what I wanted. The first thing we did, Lizzie and me, was move to the country. We have a fantastic cottage by the sea, and we love taking our dog, Bonnie, for walks on the beach, or the cliffs, or the harbors. We have a big backyard, and there's no better feeling for me than spending the whole day outside. I like to walk around in the early morning, listening to the birds and smelling the fresh early morning air. I planted some fruit trees a year or so ago, and that's coming along well. And Lizzie and I are content just to putter in the vegetable patch or cut the grass or weed the flower beds. Having said that, we go out for lunch with friends pretty often, or we have friends come and stay with us for the weekend. One of my favorite things to do is to sit out on the porch in the evening and watch the sunset with a good book.
Well, wow. 토니의 경우에는요. So we're going to talk about Tony, not Haley anymore. Okay? 토니에 대해서 얘기를 할 건데요. 자, 토니. 오케이. 자, 토니는요. 나이가 어떻게 돼 있는 것 같습니까? 나이가, he talked about early retirement, right? So he took early retirement and he left the urban life and he now lives in a country life and he's quite satisfied with his life in the country, right? 지금 시골에서 그 퇴직을 하고서는 삶을 살고 있습니다. 우리가 봤을 때는요, 그 퇴직을 했다는 그런 얘기를 들으니까 이게 뭐 early retirement든 뭐든 그리고 그 일을 아예 안 하고 he went to countryside and he lives his life there 이런 것도 봤을 때 도시의 삶을 싫어하는 약간 좀 old-aged man이 아닐까라는 그런 생각을 해보는데요. So, I think your guess is like mine, right? 여러분도 그 정도로 쓰는 생각을 하셨겠죠. So, old age is kind of old, right? Relatively young, but, teenage Harley나 뭐 이런 친구들에 비해서는 좀 나이가 들었다고 볼 수가 있겠죠. 오케이? 하지만 그 나이 드신 분들한테요, 정말 재치 있게 그 연세가 어떻게 되세요? 그 물어보려면 어떻게 하시면 되는지 아세요? You can say like, instead of like, how old are you? You can say, how young are you? 라고 물어보면 굉장히 좋아하시더라고요. Okay, anyway, so Tony. 토니는 어떤 얘기를 했는지 그 우리가 라인 바이 라인 한번 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. The kind of things that get me down, okay, are part political and part physical. political 하면요, 정치적인 거에 대해서 정말 골치 아프고 정말 싫대요. 염증이 나고. 많은 분들이 또 그러신 분들이 많으시더라고요. It's all the same story, same pros and same cons, and they're fighting over issues, not for issues per se, but for their power to influence other people with their power and stuff like that. Okay, I'm not all political. I'm interested in politics, but yeah, I sometimes feel the same way with Tony. 저도 토니랑 조금 비슷하게 느끼는 데가 있어요. 가끔가다 from time to time. Okay. Anyway, so part political and part physical. 네, 이런 것들을 느끼고 있습니다. 자, 그래서 그 정치적인 거, 그 다음에 어떤 신체적인 것 때문에 약간 좀 gets me down 하면은 나를 끌어내린다라는 것은 좀 기분이 좀 우울하거나 힘들거나 뭐 이런 것들을 얘기하는 거죠. 자, 왜 그렇습니까? I suppose like a lot of older, okay, people, 자, 나이 든 사람들, 뭐, 아니면은 자신보다 나이가 더 많이 든 어떤 그런 사람들과 마찬가지로 I think the world has gone to pot. The word has gone to pot. The word has gone to pot. The word has gone to pot. What does that mean? Well, that's right. The word has degenerated badly. 그러니까 어떤 전 세계가 좀 나빠지고 있다. 정세가 나빠지고 있다. 그런 얘기가 되겠죠. Okay? So, 점점 뭔가 악화되어가는 이 삶에 대해서 약간 염세주의적인 어떤 그런 pessimistic worldview를 갖게 된 그런 사람이 바로 토니가 되겠네요. Right? Okay, so degenerated badly. 아주 이 세상이 아주 나빠지고 있어요. Right? So 나이 든 사람들이 항상 얘기하는 것처럼 the word has gone to pot. Go to pot이 그런 뜻이에요. Okay, degenerate badly. Alright, you have to remember this expression. So I think the word has gone to pot. The word has gone to pot. 자, 이거는요 우리 2번에서 몇 번째 라인입니까? That's right. Number 4. Line number 4는 누가 얘기했어요? Tony said this. Okay, and all the politicians come and go. 뭐 이런 정치가가 나타났다 사라지고 막 이러지만, well, they do not make any difference. 맨날 똑같아요 세상은. The world is the same, and it's getting, worse and worse according to his worldview. And they sound all the same. 항상 맨날 똑같은 얘기, 똑같은 issue, and they make promises and break them. 맨날 약속하고 깨고, it's the same old story. I'm very sick and tired of it. 이런 attitude를 가지고 있네요. 자, 그 다음에요, physical side, 신체적인 면에서는 어떤 게 있다고 그랬습니까? I don't have energy. 에너지가 너무 많이 딸린다 그런 얘기를 하고 있습니다. So he has this aches and pains all over his bodies. So his knees and hips and backs and shoulders 여기저기가 쑤시고 아파요. He has this pains and aches all over his body. Okay? 이것들이 이제 뭡니까? 그를 gets down 하게 만드는 것들이죠. 하지만 이제 그가 한 일을 중에서 잘한 것은요. He took an early retirement. 빨리 퇴직했다라는 것. 그 다음에 Lizzie is the name of his wife. And then Lizzie and he moved to a countryside. 자, 거기서 뭘 하고 있습니까? 강아지와 같이 지내기도 하고요. 그죠? So he takes they take their dog. What's the dog's name? Dog's name 뭐죠? Bonnie. Bonnie for walks. And, they can listen to birds singing early in the morning. They get the fresh air in the countryside. And, it really smells really fresh and, early morning air. It's really, really fantastic, right? 자, 이런 것들도 이제 쭉 얘기를 하고 있습니다. And they planted trees, fruit trees, 뭐 이런 것들을 심게 됐는데, 그래서 이제 지금은 자라나고 있는 그런 상황이고요. Lizzie and I are content just to putter in the vegetable patch or cut the grass and weed the flower beds. Okay, so 약간 leisurely work 하는 거 있죠? Not just, seriously work really hard. 아주 신나게 열심히 일하고 막 이렇게 아주 자신의 어떤 힘을 다해서 일하는 것보다는 약간 게으르게 leisurely 아주 여유 있게 그냥 이것저것 이렇게 일해보는 거 이것이 바로 potter이에요. P-U-T-T-R. Okay? Do you understand? So Lizzie and I are content just to potter. 그냥 진지하게 일하는 것이 아니라 그냥 leisurely and in a casual manner로 그냥 천천히 이것도 해보고 저것도 해보고. So 그렇게 vegetable patch에서 그렇게 그냥 아주 팔아야 되는 것도 아니고 자신들이 길러 먹는 거니까 이제 여유 있게 그런 식으로 재배하면서 일하는 거 굉장히 좋아한대요. So, well, 이 부분이 이제 우리 라인에 나와 있는 그런 부분이 되겠죠. So line number 6예요. This is line number 6 and 4 and 6 were told by Tony. 토니가 얘기한 거네요. 4번하고 6번은요. 자, 요 라인을 같이 한번 보도록 하겠습니다. Lizzie and I are content. 만족합니다. Just to putter in the vegetable patch or cut the grass, 그 grass를 자르고 or weed the flower beds. 이런 거 굉장히 좋아해요. Having said that we go out for lunch with friends pretty often. 친구들과 잘 어울려서 식사도 이제 자주 하게 되고요. We have friends come and stay with us for the weekend. 주말에는 친구들을 초대해서 같이 이제 있기도 하고요. Okay. And 뭐 여러 가지 그 countryside에 있어서요. 그 흥미로운 일들을 이제 즐기고 있습니다. 자, 토니에 있어서요. What's typical? He goes for walks. He potters in the garden. 뭐 이런 것들은 typical한 거죠. And he has this aches all over his body. 몸이 아픈 것은 이제 나이 든 사람들의 typical한 거죠. 그 다음에 뭐 그 정치가 썩었다라고 생각하는 거예요. Politicians 하고 그 다음에 뭐 politics have gone, the world has gone to pot 이라는 표현 쓰였었죠. 오케이, 자, 그 다음에 typical한 거는 뭐예요? 그 친구들을 he invites his friends over for the weekend 뭐 이런 것들은 atypical, right? And what does he like? He likes dancing, talking with friends. No. He likes gardening. Okay, gardening, garden work 하는 거 좋아하죠? 그 다음에 walking and watching summer sunset. 뭐 entertaining friends 뭐 이런 것들 좋아한다고 했습니다. 그죠? 자, 그래서 무엇을 좋아하고 싫어하는지 여러분 다시 한번 들어보시고 점검하시고요. What you need to do is go to Tony. 토니의 이야기도 한번 들어보시고 문제에 맞게 한번 정리해 보시기 바랍니다. I think we have to say bye here. Okay? 다음 시간에 마지막 레슨, 우리 그 Purple Book으로 하는 마지막 레슨은 어떤 내용일지 기대하시고요. Okay? I have to say bye here. Thank you very much. Bye.